So for this chapter 3, I use barangay information management system, no, as the context of this topic for the IT capstone project. So the number one is, we can see here the methodology. So we have a proper labeling. So we are in chapter 3, so we start in 3.1, and then the title or the subtitle, which is methodology. So here you will explain that in this chapter you will, what are the methodologies that you will use, no, for the development of barangay information management system. So I will read. This chapter outlines the research methodology applied in the development of the barangay information management system. And then after that, it includes the research design, population and sampling technique, data gathering procedure, development methodology, tools and technology, as well as the evaluation process based on the ISO IEC 25010 standards and data analysis. And then the next sub point here is the research design. Research design or research methodology. So you will explain in this area the research design you will use, no. I always explain to my student with regards to research design, especially in our field in IT. We always go to mixed methodology, no. So mixed method, the quantitative and qualitative approach, no, for our research, because we have the development side, no, of our IT capstone. So we have output, we have system. Now for this you will explain, no, where you will use the qualitative approach. So here I stated the qualitative approach used to gather detailed information from the residents and barangay staff through interviews and open-ended questions to identify system requirements and challenges. So here, we will create a letter from our end user to our local to give them the list of a question, and also giving them the background of the study that you want to do. As our local, we will get the flow, we will get the process, procedure they do in order for us to gain knowledge, insights, no, pertaining dun sa gagawin natin na barangay information management system. So the qualitative approach is being used here because we are making research questions. We are preparing questions. Syempre, pag pupunta ka ng lokal natin, hindi yung dun ka palang mag-iisip ng questions na tatanong mo. No. So, nandun na sa letter, nakabullet form yon na ibibigay sa kanila na gagamitin natin. So, yun yung mga itatanong natin sa kanila na open-ended question. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila answerable by yes or no. So, ginagamit natin ito to gather nga yung para dun sa ating system requirements. Ibig sabihin, ito yung magiging function, mga functionalities na ilalagay natin sa ating system. Next one is the quantitative approach. Kaya nga, we always have the quantitative, no, in our capstone, because we are we have, no, a development. So when we develop, of course, we need to evaluate the developed system. We need to gauge, yun nga, evaluate the system using a proven framework na pwede natin gamitin. For example, in this scenario, I use ISO IEC 25 series, no, as super quality standard. So yun na, nakadalawa na tayo. Here we have the methodology and then the research design. Next, of course, we need to give our reader the context, no, for our lokal. After gathering the data included here, the population ng mga respondent natin, population of our lokal as our end user. So here, in a sub point 3.3, we will specify here our lokal, who's our lokal, the population size, and then paano tayo nag-compute, no, nung ating mga magpa-participate dun sa ating gagawin na survey later on. So here 3.3, and then under this 3.3 we have the local and population. So include lang dito, no, kung saan, for example, the study was conducted in Barangay Gatchawin, Arayat, Pampanga with an estimated population of 4,000 residents. So including dito yung barangay officials and staff na meron po tayo. Now, after we give the reader the population size that we have, paano naman natin ngayon kukunin yung sample size natin? So we have here the subpoint, the sample size determination. The sample size was calculated using Slovin's formula with a 5% margin of error. So here's the formula na gagamitin natin for this, no? So here you can see the 4,000 as our, ito po yung ating population size na galing sa ating lokal na sinabi nila, we have 4,000 na residents in Barangay Gatchawin, for example. Yun yung lalagay po natin dito. And then we have this formula. Actually, Slovin's formula, so here is the website, no. Ito yung dito ko siya galing, no. In statistic of Slovin's formula is used to calculate the minimum sample size. So hindi na natin kailangan surveyan lahat ng 4,000. Kukunin lang natin yung minimum sample size needed to estimate, no, yung ating, to evaluate yung ating system. So same lang din yung formula natin dito, and also naka-provide din dito sa website na to kung paano natin siya i-solve. So sinampolan ko nga siya. We have here the 4,000. The population size we have, and the margin of error na 0.5 or 5%. And then to calculate this, you will get 363.63. Round off natin yon. So we get 364. So in our documentation, you will see here we get the 364. So actual ko, no? So kung paano natin ito gagawin. So this one, we will times this times 2 natin ito, yung 0.5 or yung 5% natin. So I will use here the calculator. So 0.05 times 0.05, and we will get this natin. Now, since dito ay naka-parenthesis yan, so we will use this to times natin siya sa 4,000, which is our population size. So ito yung actual, no, na pwede natin siyang gamitin. So you will get 10, and then ipa-plus lang natin yung 1 plus 1 here, you get the 11. Now di pa tayo tapos. So here we have the 11, no, 4,000, i-divide natin yan sa 4,000. So 4,000 divide 11 na yung nakuha natin, you will get 363.63 And then, round off natin yan, we get 364. Okay? So, yun yung kung paano natin siya isosolve. Now, I have here, in case, no, may mga instances kasi na we have 364 na minimum, no, based dun sa sample size natin. However, mayroong mga consideration dito. For example, out of the 4,000, kasi when we survey o nagpapa-survey tayo, hindi naman ito sa pilitan. Of course, based lang din ito dun sa time frame na meron tayo, and also dun sa respondent na gustong mag-participate. May mga cases na hindi mo siya, kumbaga, yung makukuha mo lang, for example, 150. So, i-document lang natin siya, no? Ilagay lang natin dito, thus, we can say that, thus, the ideal sample size is 364 respondents. However, due to time and availability constraint, only, sasabihin mo lang nun yung respondent, only 150 respondent were able to participate. Siyempre, malalaman mo lang yon kapag nag-conduct ka na ng survey. So, as of now, hindi pa natin alam kung out of the 364, kung lahat ba yan ay mag-respond dun sa ating evaluation, hindi pa natin alam. So, kaya wala siya dito. So, pwede naman natin siyang ilagay. For example, yun nga, lagay natin, thus, the ideal sample size is 364 respondent. However, due to time and availability constraint, only 150 respondents were able to participate. Okay? So, the next one is, we have under again ng 3.3, which is under pa rin tayo dito sa local population and sampling technique. Under here, the sampling technique. So, ano ba si sampling technique? Siyempre, how can we disseminate, paano natin i-disseminate, no, yung ating mga survey questionnaire? So, we will use simple random sampling, was used to select end user. Sino ba tong end user? Yung lokal natin. Ito yung mga gagamit ng system natin. Among our local or yung ating resident ng ating barangay, including dito yung mga barangay staff natin. So, we will use simple random sampling. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng sabihin mo na within sa barangay, merong isang specific place doon or na pwede kang habang may dumadaan ay pwede kang magpa-survey, something like that. No, pwede 'yon. And then pagdating naman sa other group of respondent natin, which is our IT expert. Syempre dahil meron tayong criteria dito pag sinabi nating IT expert, sila yung nakakaalam ng technical parts or may idea sa IT, no? So, ang gagamitin natin dito is the purposive sampling. So, dito makikita natin that we can state here yung sampling technique kung paano natin siya gagamitin. So, purposive, ibig sabihin, meron kang criteria, may purpose kung bakit sila yung isi-select mo, yon, was used to select IT expert for the technical evaluation of the system. Okay? So, dito matatapos yung 3.3 natin. Now, in our 3.4, dito na yung data gathering procedure. So, pansinin natin, yung qualitative natin or yung qualitative natin na 3.4.1, ito, qualitative data, initial data were gathered through interviews. Ito yung ginawa natin kanina, which is dinocument natin. Ano? Part of our software engineering methodology is requirements gathering and analysis. No? Mamaya papakita ko yan. So, in this, we can state that the qualitative data natin na open-ended question to understand the issue in managing barangay records and services. So, dito, mas using this, no, the answer na nanggaling sa ating mga barangay resident, barangay staff, magagamit natin sa pagki-create natin ng system natin kung ano yung magiging functionalities niya. So, para maintindihan natin ano ba talaga yung dapat nating solusyonan, ano ba yung dapat nating ilagay ng mga functionalities na makakapag-improve nung process nila. Then, sumunod dito yung quantitative natin na data collection. So, nabanggit natin that in our quantitative part, we will use the ISO for software quality. So, we can state here, sabihin lang natin na after system development, syempre after na-develop na natin yung system, i-evaluate naman natin ngayon yung ating system, di ba? So, dito pumapasok yung data collection natin for quantitative. So, evaluation was conducted through Likert scale. Pipili tayo dito ng Likert scale na gagamitin natin or weight or scale na gagamitin natin pang-gauge dun sa pinapa-evaluate natin na system. The instrument was distributed to both end user and IT expert. So, meron tayo dito na two groups. Una is yung end user natin and then the IT expert natin for our quantitative data collection. And then, sinunod ko dito is yung ating software development methodology or yung tinatawag nating software engineering methodology. Sa part ng IT, syempre hindi lang tayo, kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng mga system, katulad sa engineer, meron tayong mga blueprint, meron tayong method na ginagamit. We cannot, di ba, mga engineer, hindi sila pwedeng magtayo ng building ng walang blueprint. At maraming benefit yon, especially sa pag-create nila ng building. Tayo din, pagdating sa software, to avoid the unnecessary work na pwedeng mangyari, we do or we use software development methodology. So, part of this, syempre meron tayong iba't ibang mga software development methodology, and isa sa mga ginamit ko dito is yung waterfall model. So, state mo lang dito anong klaseng methodology, software development methodology ang gagamitin mo. The study used waterfall model as the software development methodology consisting of the following phases. Actually, this from the internet, kinapi-paste ko lang siya. Ito naman. You can use this, by the way, pwede mo siyang ilagay na figure number, and then anong number yung figure na to, X yung linagay ko dito kasi pwedeng 1 yan, 2, or something like that, and then the waterfall methodology. So, meron siyang 6 na phases. So, here, explain mo per phases kung paano mo siya gagamitin. So, for example, for our requirements gathering and analysis or the requirements phase, we created interview guide question, research question to gather necessary information from end users regarding their workflow, challenges, and needs for barangay information management. And then kung mapapansin nyo dito, I put here C appendix N or the number of or the letter of this appendix kung ano yung letter na yon na sinasabi mo dito na kinrate natin, na interview guide question, research question na ginawa mo, papakita mo yan sa appendix, Lagay natin yan sa appendix so that pag gusto kong tignan yung ginamit mo na letter for your local, makikita ko kung saan. Lalagay mo lang dito, kung saan i-link mo lang siya, And then, of course, after we gathered all the necessary data, information, yun nga, part ng requirements gathering, after we analyze all the information we gather, makakapag-develop tayo, of course, ng ating diagrams. So, sa design phase ng ating methodology, gagawa na tayo ngayon ng mga diagrams natin. Tama ba? So, part dito, of course, by the way, yung mga diagrams based sila dun sa topic na meron tayo. So, for this topic na Barangay Information Management System, it is important to have yung back-end diagram natin or yung tinatawag nating Entity Relationship Diagram or ERD. Modeling the database structure. Ito yung lalagyan ng mga data natin. Laging nauuna. Sa development, hindi pwedeng mauna yung user interface. Of course, kailangan meron ka munang lalagyan ng mga data natin before we can create yung ating user or yung ating front end. So, the next diagram here is use case diagram to identify user roles. Siyempre, kailangan nating malaman dito kung sino-sino ang gagamit, ano yung role ng mga gamit ng system natin. Kaya nga user role and access level, meaning to say, meron silang limitation sa pag-access. Merong lahat nakakagawa or nape-perform niya lahat, parang ganon. Yung iba naman, nakalimit hanggang view lang sila, something like that. So, ganun din, yung ginamit mo na use case diagram, i-reference mo lang dun sa appendices natin. Appendix number, lagay lang natin. Then may explanation doon, or pagpapaliwanag, no? Yung ginagamit natin. And then we have here the data flow diagram to illustrate yung flow of data within the system. Kung kailan siya nagsisave, nag-i-store ng data sa ating database. Ibig sabihin, ito yung connection between our front end and our back end. Tinitingnan natin kung kailan nag-save at nag-fetch ng data from our database to display to our front end or yung ating view, no? So, and then we have also na diagram na flow chart to visualize yung logical flow and decision making ng ating system. Same din, ilalagay lang natin dito yung diagram na yon, appendices number niya or yung letter niya. And then the last, user interface mock-up o ito yung design, no, ng ating magiging front end or user interface. Sa mga ina-handle ko sa ITLEC 4, no, diniscuss ko to kung papaano or ano yung mga software na pwede natin gamitin to make a user interface mock-up, no? Nandiyan yung Figma na ginagamit natin, Canva, pwede rin yung Photoshop na ginagamit natin. Wala pang coding ang pinag-uusapan dito. So, ito ay visual layout and navigation of the system, no? Kung ano yung makikita sa page 1, ano makikita sa dashboard, yun na din nilalagay natin. So, nag-note ako dito, sabi ko, note that the identified diagrams here are based on the project needed. So, ito ay in the context of Barangay Information Management System. Therefore, lahat ng mga ito is kailangan ko in order for me to create the Barangay Information Management System. Pwede kayo add diagrams if needed, like in IoT. Kailanganin mo ng IoT components diagram. Ibig sabihin, after you list down all the components ng IoT, Internet of Things na gagamitin natin, like ESP32, Arduino, o kaya naman Raspberry Pi, mga sensors na gagamitin mo, of course, gagawa ka ng diagram kung paano mo sila i-connect, no? So, yun yung pwede mong lagay. Some other you can use VTalk, no, yung visual table of content to know the hierarchy ng mga ng per page natin, no. Pwede 'yon. So marami tayong mga diagrams. Syempre hindi ko sila may isa-isa ngayon. You can search, no, dun sa mga appropriate na po natin diagrams na pwede po nating ilagay dito. Basta ang purpose lang naman ng diagrams, katulad sa mga engineer, blueprint yan sa paggagawin natin. Nandun yan na lahat. Kung, di ba, kapag sa blueprint, malalaman mo na kung saan yung pwesto ng banyo, ilan yung bintana, yung size, anong klaseng laki ng bakal yung kailangan. Mga ganon. Sa atin din. Ganon din. Ano yung mga kakailanganin natin, especially dun sa layout or sa design natin, anong magiging color, combination natin, color palette na meron tayo. Okay? And then, under pa rin tayo ng software development methodologies, pang 3 na tayo, implementation phase, or dito na yung coding, no? We will develop the actual system na on finalized design and requirements. So, pansinin mo yung sinabi ko dito, on the finalized design. Ibig sabihin, I'm pertaining to this step, di ba? Finalized design requirements using appropriate tools and technology. So, importante na in waterfall kasi, kaya nga tinawag siyang waterfall. So, sequence siya, hindi ka pwedeng mag-go back, no? Pababa yan, pababa. Ayan. So, it is important to gather all the information before ka makapag-proceed sa next phase. So, dito ay nasa development phase tayo or implementation na kung saan i-code na natin, i-create na natin, gagawin na natin yung actual system natin using the na pinili natin na programming language, tools na makakatulong sa atin. And then, here, next phase is testing phase. Conducted unit testing and system testing to ensure functionality, reliability. Ito, ginagawa lang natin itong testing phase so that kapag magpapa-evaluate na tayo, di ba, meron tayong evaluation na gagawin kapag na-develop na natin yung system, ma-ensure natin na working yung system. Siyempre, hindi naman tayo magpapa-evaluate ng yung system natin ay hindi working. Ibig sabihin lang nun, kapag itetest yan ng mga panel ninyo or ng mga end user natin, hindi gumagana, tapos ang ganda nung result nung evaluation natin, ibig sabihin nandaya kayo. No? So, we have here the internal tests were performed to ensure the software was operational and ready for formal assessment. Ang formal assessment natin dito is to evaluate our system using the ISO na framework. And then we have here the deployment phase. Deploy the system in a live environment for user access and validation. Ito na yung bukod dun sa ating habang after we gathered all this, kasi kakailanganin natin ito for our result and discussion, dun sa part ng pagte-test natin or pag-i-evaluate natin ng ating system, dito naman is kasalukuyan, naka-deploy siya na pwede kang gumamit dito ng mga hosting site. Ibig sabihin, kasama, baka may misinterpret natin, during the evaluation using ISO, dapat naka-app na, naka-hosting site na yan, nakalagay na sa internet yan. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya locally na pinapasagutan natin sila, tapos yung pinapagamit natin na system, locally pa siya. Hindi, kailangan nakalagay na po yan sa isang hosting site. Meron na siyang domain name, ina-access natin. Yun. So, nandun yun, So, live environment, and patuloy yun na ginagamit nila hanggang sa defense natin. Patuloy yun na ginagamit, ina-access kasi from time to time, tinitingnan natin kung chine-check natin yung performance ng ating system. And then, syempre, abang kasalukuyan yan hanggang sa i-utilize nila, ginagamit nila, kasi nga na-deploy yan, at meron silang access at tinatry nilang i-integrate sa kanilang sistema or sa local natin, sa barangay na yon. Yan, may mga lalabas ng mga feedback, mga bugs na pwedeng mag-rise, na pwede nating makita. And then, syempre, yun yung part ng maintenance phase natin, we will gather yung mga yon, check natin yung mga yon. Okay? And then, after we do yung development, software development methodology, nasa 3.6 na tayo. So, 3.6 talks about tools and technologies used. So, ano ba yung mga gagamitin natin programming language in order for us to create that system? So, pwede mong ilagay dito kung magpe-framework ka, Laravel, PHP Cake, something like that, React Native, ayan, mga ganon. We have also here the database, na MySQL, development tool, ayan, include lang natin dito yung mga tools na kakailanganin natin. At dito ni-note ko, ayan, pati hosting site nga nandito, Sa others, pwede natin yan lagay. Anong klaseng hosting site ang kakailanganin natin. O kaya naman, merong ibang database o storage like Firebase, or for version control, we can use GitHub, pwede yon na pwede nating ilagay yan sa others natin. Okay? And then, for 3.7 na system development method, nandito na, syempre, i-explain natin dito alin sa mga criteria natin ang included dun sa ating pag-i-evaluate sa ating system. So, i-document lang natin or lalagay lang natin dito, the system was evaluated based on the following attribute. So makikita natin dito ano yung mga attribute na yon, no? Functional suitability, reliability, usability, performance efficiency, maintainability, and portability. Each of these mag-create po tayo ng mga questions, no? Questions na pertaining dito sa category na to. So punta lang kayo dun sa ISO IEC 25010 sa website nila. You will see, no, yung mga example na question, and also ano ba yung mga dapat nating tukuyin, no, when we say functional suitability. Syempre pertaining to your system na ginawa. Okay? So and then using this framework, i-gauge natin yan through to the use of 4-point Likert scale. So 4-point Likert scale, composition nito, ito yung scale niya, 1 to 4, o equivalent or yung weighted niya, score niya. Ito yung description, no? We have strongly agree na number 4 siya, agree na 3, disagree na 2, strongly disagree na 1. So ito mamaya makikita natin, malalaman natin paano natin ito magagamit. Sa computation kasi magagamit yan. So may weight yang mga yan, yung strongly agree. And then, of course, indicate natin dito yung group of respondents na meron tayo. So, meron tayong dalawang types of respondent. Ano? Depende pa rin yan, of course, kung kailangan mo pa ng expert. For example, kailangan mo ng other expert like electrical engineer, for example, na meron kang ginawang electrical dun sa system ninyo, kakailanganin mo ng, or magfo-fall siya sa IT expert. Pwede yan, no? So, may two types tayo na respondent. End user, ito yung mga barangay official natin, staff, who interacted with the system. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga gumamit ng system or gagamit ng system natin. IT expert, ito yung mag-evaluate ng technical performance and quality of our system. So, mga IT expert, they usually want us to find IT expert labas sa ating university to to avoid yung bias na mga pag-evaluate, no? So, yon. And then, ganun lang to kadali, yung 3.7. Nandito na tayo sa data analysis. So, data analysis, paano naman natin ngayon i-interpret, analyze yung mga data na kinollected natin? So, remember, in our quantitative, sabi nga natin, gumamit tayo ng ISO, and yung scale natin is we have 4-point Likert scale. So, to analyze the evaluation result, the following computation were applied. Parang under this chapter, sinasabi natin kung paano natin i-handle yung mga data, paano natin sila i-compute. So, nandito yon. Yung A, weighted mean, meron tayong weighted mean, ito ay per item or per question. Per question, mamaya meron akong example na ipapakita. So, ito yung formula, no, ng weighted mean natin. Yung F, yung frequency of responses per scale. Yung weighted assigned, ito yung 4 na equivalent niya is yung strongly agree. And then yung 1, strongly disagree. So, di ba meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4 kanina. So, yun. And then yung total number of respondent, i-divide natin siya dun sa total number kung ilan yung sumagot dun sa question na number 1. Ayun. Okay? And then, next naman is yung tinatawag nating weighted average mean. Ito naman ay per ISO category. So, kanina, we have this category. Ito yan. Per category. Functional suitability, reliability, category ang tawag natin dyan. So, here, we can get the average mean kung sa category na yon pumasabay yung system natin. So, average of the weighted means of all items under specific ISO. By the way, nababago to, depende dun sa ISO or framework na ginamit mo, ha? Okay. And then, the total weighted average mean per respondent. Ito naman, for example, sa category ni end user muna, and then sa category ni IT expert. No, yung tinatawag nating total weighted average mean. And then, we have here, overall weighted average mean, or yung pinaka totality, no, ng ating result. Yung N1, which is our end user, N2 is yung IT expert natin, number of respondent in each group, and then total average mean of each group natin. Okay, ipa-plus lang natin yan, and then divide lang natin kung ilan yung pinlas natin to get the average. Okay? So, eto. So, after that, so nandito, no, kung paano natin siya igagawin. And now, syempre, meron pa tayo dito na under again ng 3.8, yung 3.8.2, which is interpretation. Syempre, meron tayong appropriate interpretation ng mga number. So, number siya, no? Kailangan natin siyang i-interpret. Ano yung verbal interpretation natin? So, meron tayong mga range na gagamitin. Ito ay based dun sa, or ito yung ginagamit na range ng 4-point Likert scale. So, we have 1 hanggang 1.75 na strongly disagree, at ang description niya is does not meet the requirements or criterion at all. So, ibig sabihin, bagsak. No? Also, this one, of course, hindi niya na-satisfy. The system partially meets the requirements of criterion. Pwede yan, no? By the way, customizable ito. Pwede nating i-customize ito based on sa gusto nating description. Basta, magpo-fall siya dito sa strongly agree, which is the fully satisfied, something like that, no? Verbal interpretation natin. So, lalagay lang natin dito, to interpret the values obtained from weighted mean, weighted average mean, total weighted average mean, and overall weighted average mean, the following scale will be used. So, lahat na, no? Para malaman natin. Mamaya, meron nga akong example para ma-appreciate natin ito. Ito yung description niya. So, dito masasabi natin sa pinakailalim niya, this interpretation scale will guide the analysis of each item ng category natin, and per question also, category, respondent group, total, and overall system evaluation. So, dito natin masasabi na yung system natin kapag pumasa siya, masasabi natin na maganda or na-satisfied at okay talaga yung system na ginawa natin. Okay, so ito yung sample ko, no, na appendix N, yung number ng appendix, sample ng use case diagram na gagamitin natin. Makalagay dito barangay official, ito yung role. Si barangay official, ito lahat ng kakayahan niyang gamitin sa system na pwede niyang magamit. Si resident, hanggang view lang siya, pwede niyang ma-view yung announcement, pwede niyang ma-view yung ordinansa sa within the barangay. Pwede na din niyang makapag-request ng mga certification ng barangay clearance, barangay indigency. Si barangay secretary naman, ayan, makakapag-manage siya ng request and so on and so forth. So, barangay official, nandito na si captain at mga kagawad. No? And then, okay, so, dito na tayo sa sample computation, no, yung kanina. Although dito, okay na tayo dito, parang linagay natin yung foundation kung papaano natin i-interpret later on yung magiging results sa pagkakandak natin ng questionnaire. Okay? Ng evaluation natin. Now, for example, nakapag-conduct na kayo at nakapag-create na kayo ng mga questions. So 'di ba, for this scenario, meron akong 10 or 100 na end user, meron akong 3 na IT expert. By the way, minimum yung 3. Minimum, ibig sabihin hindi pwedeng 2. Minimum yung IT expert natin na 3 kasi para daw yung hindi maging biased kung 2 lang, syempre, no? So, ISO category, for example, under ng functionality ng ating sa end user na 100. Kunwari nakapag-create ako ng 3 question, ito yan. So, question 1, question 2, question 3. At yung sumagot is 100 dahil 100 yung respondent natin dito. So, sa question number 1, may sumagot na strongly disagree na 5. Sa disagree, 5. Sa agree, 30. Sa strongly agree, 60. So, total na yan. Pag pinag-plus natin yan, we will get 100. Tama ba? So, to get the weighted mean ng mga sumagot na 100 na ito, ita-times natin yan. So, times natin siya. So, ito siya. Ito yung unang gagawin natin. So, makikita natin 60 times 4. Ito yan. 30 times 3. Ito yan. No? 5 times 2, ito yan. And 5 times 1, ito yan. So, if compute natin yan, 60 times 4, makakuha tayo ng 240. 30 times 3, makakuha ka ng 90. 2 times 5, 10, and then 1 times 5, 5. Then, ipapag-add natin yan. After we add them, makakuha tayo ng 345. And then, syempre, i-divide natin sila sa respondent natin. Ito yon yung 100. Kung saan natin siya nakuha. Ito yan, 100. And you get 300, you get 3.45. So, ito yon yung weighted mean natin, ha? So, ito yung 3.45 natin. So, per question, gagawin natin yung sequence na to na ginawa ko, sample, you will get this weighted mean natin. Ito yung tinatawag nating weighted mean. Sa question number 1, 3.45. Question number 2, which is this one, 3.30. Sa question number 3, 3.35. So, same formula yan, no, na gagamitin natin. Now, to get the total or yung tinatawag nating weighted average naman, yung kanina weighted mean per question yon, ngayon weighted average mean per ISO category. So, to get the overall nito, kailangan mo lang itong ipag-plus to. Pa-plus natin itong mga to, guys. And then, i-divide natin kung ilan yung pinlas natin. Kasi minsan, 4 yung question mo, 4 yung i-divide mo. Ngayon, 3 yung question natin, 3 yung i-divide natin. So, i-plus and then divide. So, you will get 300 or you will get 3.37. So, 3.37. Ito siya. Pinag-add natin 3.5 which is 3.45, 3.3, 30, 3.35. Plus natin yan and then divide 3 dahil 3 sila. Yan. Makuha ng 10.10 divide 3, 3.37. Ito yan. Okay? So, sa IT Expert, same lang din. So, dahil sa IT Expert, 3 lang yan, 3 lang to. Hindi siya 100. Ano? So, same question also, 1. Times lang natin yan. And then, you will get the same lang. So, ito, 3.66, 3, and then 3.33. And then, add mo lang yan, tatlong to, and then divide 3, you get 3.33 na weighted average mean. Okay? So, under IT Expert yan, ano? So, and then, yung summary table natin ng result, pwedeng ganito. Ito yung category. So, yung kanina, an example lang natin, yung functionality, no? Marami pa yan. So, meron tayong usability, reliability. So, for example, ito na yung mga nakuha natin. Sa end user, ito yung per category na meron tayo, 3.37. Ito yan. So, sa IT Expert naman natin na 3 na sumagot, ito yung mga nakuha natin na weighted average mean per category. So, para makakuha mo yung overall weighted mean, kailangan mo yan. I-add natin ito, and then, i-divide natin sila sa 2. Yan. To get this one. Yan, ha. So, yan. And then, total weighted average mean per respondent, ito siya. I-add naman natin ito, itong mga to, sa category ng end user natin. Same din dito. And then, i-divide natin siya, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, dahil 4 na category yan. So, pag pinag-add mo itong mga to, and then, i-divide mo sa 4, you will get 3.39. Same din dito. Pag pinag-add yan, and then divide 4, you will get 3.48. So, pag yan, pinlas mo, itong dalawang ito, na total weighted average mean, i-divide mo sa 2 kasi dalawa yung pinlas natin, makukuha mo ng 3.43. Same din dito sa overall weighted means natin. So, i-add mo to, 4, and then divide 4 kasi 4 sila, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, you will get also this 3 point. So, ito yung summary of result for end user and IT Expert. So, yun, no? At thank you for listening. If you have question, clarification, mas maganda na i-comment natin siya dun sa ating comment section. Thank you!